I was brought up with a family, a big family. My father was the eldest of 16 kids, my mum the eldest of 9. We had a lot of songs, a lot of little ditties in our family. I'll sing one of the songs my dad sang in a minute, but before that, I thought I'd do one about the Chinese in Australia. And, you know, many Chinese, thousands, came here to work, and they were given a hard time, especially when they were seen to be working very industriously on the goldfields. But this is a song from the 1870s gold rush in Queensland on the Palmer River, rather than the Victorian New South Wales gold rush. And it's called The New Chinaman, and it's typical of these comic songs where this fellow in the song reckons he'd have more luck if he turned his eyebrows upside down, his skin inside out, and grew a pigtail. What's the use of talking? They won't let a white man live, for if there's any work to do to a Chinese man they'll give. So come all you straight-head natives, take my advice and plan, and turn your skin the right side in to become the Chinaman. Oh, goodbye, Mrs. Doolan. Oh, ta-da, Mrs. Doyle. No more I'll roam around Ireland or plague your Emerald Isle, for I am bound for China. It's there I will be found. I'm off to join the Chinese men. For Hong Kong I am bound. When first ever I put my foot upon that flowery shore, I'll scour the whiskers off my face, they won't grow any more. My eyebrows upside down, I'll turn my skin, I'll yellow tan, and I'll eat my rice with chopsticks like a new Chinaman. Oh, goodbye, Mrs. Doolittle. Oh, ta-da, Mrs. Doyle. No more I'll roam around Ireland or plague your Emerald Isle, for I am bound for China. It's there I will be found. I'm off to join the Chinese men. For Hong Kong I am bound. Pigtail 6 foot long, I'll roll the lingo round. I'll wear a pair of Chinese pants with the bottoms neat and grand, and I will call myself a Pat, though my name is Pat McCann. And it's off to Queensland I will go like a new Chinaman. Oh, goodbye, Mrs. Doolin. Oh, ta-da, Mrs. Doyle. No more I'll roam around Ireland or plague your Emerald Isle, for I am bound for China. It's there I will be found. I'm off to join the Chinese men. For Hong Kong I am bound. I'll learn to carry baskets, I'll carry them on my back, and I'll pick up the lumps of gold that I find on the track. And when I've made my fortune, back home I'm coming back, and marry the girl I left behind, and her name is Magpie Black. Oh, goodbye, Mrs. Doyle. Oh, ta-da, Mrs. Doyle. No more I'll roam around Ireland or plague your Emerald Isle, for I am bound for China. It's there I will be found. I'm off to join the Chinese men. For Hong Kong I am bound. This is a weird story. This is a weird fact. The convicts in Sydney in the early days, many of them tried to escape, but the bush was impenetrable to them. They were scared of the snakes, the insects, the Aborigines, the lot. But they had this notion in their head that if they went up north through here, up to the Hawkesbury River and go past the Hawkesbury River, they'd be in China. So a lot of them went up there thinking they were going to get to China. They didn't. Here's another unusual song. I was up in Queensland in the early 70s and I tape recorded a man called Cyril Duncan. His father had been a bullock driver in Bow Desert on the Nerang River area. And he had a song called A Long Time Ago on the Logan River, that his father had sung, and he sang it to me. And I don't think, well, I've never heard anybody else sing it, but it's unusual. It's about an Aboriginal picnic day. It's got some Aboriginal words for native animals, like charongs and cobbles of carpet snakes and so forth. And I hesitated singing it because I thought, man, I didn't feel quite right about singing it until I got a letter in those days from the local Indigenous museum, and they asked me if they could play the song because I'd made a recording of it. And I said, well, does that mean I can sing it as well? And they said, oh yeah, sure. So I'll give it a go. I mean, I hardly ever sung it, but we'll give it a go. A long time ago on the Logan, there were blacks of all sizes and sorts. A meeting was held at Bow Desert for the purpose of having some sports. First prize was a lovely fat burrabee of cobbles, and number was 6. Second and third, no difference. 2 iguanas half dead with the ticks. There were nullahs, carbuncles and cobbles, iguanas and yarragans too. Nullahs and spears and buttons, all thrown by that famous old blow. Now Blow being the best at the throwing, and Andrew's the best at the fight. Old Slab sent down for some bottles for the purpose of keeping things quiet. There were nullahs, carbuncles and cobbles, iguanas and yarragans too. Nullahs and spears and buttons, all thrown by that famous old Blow. Now Billy and Bobby got rowing. When there's grog, hell those old darkies will. Old Charlie nearly split his side laughing when Bobby upset old King Bill. There were nullahs, carbuncles and cobbles, iguanas and yarragans too. Old nullahs and spears and buttons, all thrown by that famous old Blow. Now I received many a present of cobbles, he had quite a sack. The only one seemed to grumble was that quarrelsome never tired Jack. There were nullahs, carbuncles and cobbles, iguanas and yarragans too. Nullahs and spears and buttons, all thrown by that famous old Blow. You hear a lot of new chums talk about going on the land and raising record crops of wheat on rocks and flaming sand. Well, I hate exaggerated skite, but if you like I can elucidate the case in which the land went on the man. Bill Jones, he had a mountain block down Kosciuszko way, farmed at nigh to death, the neighbours used to say. He scarified its surface with his double-furrowed plough and ate its bleeding heart out with his sheep and milk and cow. He stuffed up its intestines with his agricultural pipes, limes and superphosphates fit to give the land the gripes, until this here land, worn out with Jones's thrift, reckoned that the time had come to up and make a shift. So one morning the mountain shook itself. It gave an almighty groan. The neighbours, they were more afraid than they were going to own. Their eyes popped out of their head. Their eyes they opened wide to see Bill's farm upend itself and down the mountain slide. It slithered down the mountainside, majestic-like and slow, and landed in a riverbed 1,000 feet below. Now Jones was on the southern tip of this long here suffering land. He'd just been testing out a plough. It was working like a charm. He'd just been screwing up a nut and he heard an almighty crack, and 50 acres more or less came down on Jones's back. He'd just been standing there owning all that land. Next he's in eternity, a spanner in his hand. They never dug up no remains nor scraps of William Jones. The superphosphates ate the lot, hide buttons, boots and bones. For this here land that Jones had tormented and scared in the past had turned things round. Things got evened up at last. So all you city coves are saving up your coin to get upon the land. Watch out, the land don't get on yous. Now, I mentioned the Chinese. The Chinese were very popular as cooks in the bush because they were game enough to use a bit of spice and curry and so forth. You didn't have to know how to cook if you're working in the outback. You just had to know how to make a knuckle sandwich. You had to know how to fight. One bloke told me that he was on a station and the station cook, they reckoned, had never ever cleaned the pot, and he was known. They all had names: the bait laker, the curry killer, and whatever. His was Greasy Soul because they reckoned he'd never ever washed. In fact, he was so greasy, if you looked at him, your eyeballs just slid right off. Anyway, they reckoned he'd never made an attempt to clean the stew pot. He just kept adding to it every day, the same bloody thing every day. And one day, one of the shearers said, I'm going to fix him. And he went to the laundry and he got some of those Reckitt's blue bags they used to keep the washing white. And he popped a few of those into the stew and said, that'll fix the bastard. And the boys came in that night and sat down, and the cook came in with a big smile on his face and said, I got a change for you tonight, boys, blue stew. And if anybody doesn't like it, they can come outside and see me. And one shearer looked at it and he went, oh, no way, I'm not going to eat that. And he went outside and they were all listening. There's whack, 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 whack. And he comes in and he goes, it's bloody good, I hear. Here's a song about a station cook. I got this from 1875, newspaper called the Evening Star in Adelaide. A shearer had sent it in to them about their station cook. The song I'm going to sing to you, it won't detain you long. It's all about a station cook we had at Old Pignon. His cooking was so beautiful, his cooking was so fine, it gave us all a guts ache right through the shearing time. You should taste his plum duffs, his doughboys and his pies. I swear by Long Maloney, they'd open a shearer's eyes. He'd say, take your time, good fellows. He'd fix you with a glance, saying, I'll dish you up much better if you give me half a chance. Now cookie is a baker and confectionist by trade, and many a tasty brownie and doughboy he has made. He takes up in the morning, to tea. And don't forget when shearing's done to sling the cook his fee. But oh dear, I feel so queer, I don't know what to do. The thought of leaving Fowler's Bay, it breaks me heart in two. But if ever I get that slushy, I'll make him rue the day. He ruined me constitution when I was shearing at Fowler's Bay. Oh, won't I have some tales to tell when I get into Adelaide, of many a tasty story and brownie he has made. Our cook, he is so kind to us, so generous and St. Paul, that every time I look at him he reminds me of St. Paul. But oh dear, I feel so queer, I don't know what to do. The thought of leaving Fowler's Bay, it breaks me heart in two. But if ever I get that slushy, I'll make him rue the day that he ruined me constitution when I was shearing at Fowler's Bay. I used to say, what sort of cook is he? Just a cook. Now here's a song. I mentioned my father used to sing lots of songs. This is a kid's song. My father used to sing to me all the time. My father was although he was born here, he sort of like would go into this Irishy accent that to sing songs, and this one's called his Old Grey Noddle. It's a young girl singing it. So you got this is the license that folk songs give you. A noddle is your head. And anyway, this is what he used to sing to me. There was an old man came over for tea. Oh, I'll not have him. Came over for tea. He sat next to me with his old grey noddle, his old grey noddle, his old grey noddle is shaking. My mother, she told me to bake him a cake. Oh, I'll not have him. I baked him a cake. He ate like a snake with his old grey noddle, his old grey noddle, his old grey noddle is shaking. My mother, she told me to pour him some wine. Oh, I'll not have him. I poured him the wine, he drank like a swine with his old grey noddle, his old grey noddle, his old grey noddle is shaking. My mother, she told me to chop him some wood. Oh, I'll not have him. I chopped him the wood, the silly fool stood with his old grey noddle, his old grey noddle, his old grey noddle is shaking. My mother, she told me to put him to bed. Oh, I'll not have him. I put him to bed, I chopped off his head, and the old grey noddle, the old grey noddle, the old grey noddle stopped shaking. I sometimes I just throw things in that it's all on the list. Don't look.
Oh, okay.
I was up thinking about kids. Kids folklore. That's my next book. It's called A Hop, Skip and a Jump, and it's a history of Australian children's amusements. And I love the little rhymes and things that the kids do. Things like Colonel Sanders came to town riding on a chicken, stuck his finger up its bum and said it's finger licking. Or do you remember the Profumo scandal, Christine Keeler and Mandy Rice Davis? Even then, when I started the early days of collecting, I found one that went, half a pound of mandy rice, half a pound of keeler. Put them together and what do you get? A dirty, sexy Sheila. How did I get onto that? Oh yeah, I was going to sing a song. This is a song called the Old Macquarie. It's another one of those numerical ones. And this one I was recording a woman up at the Bathurst Home for the Aged. She was 92, played a concertina, and we had a lovely time up there. And the Macquarie River is up there in that area. And you'll know the tune, you'll know the song, but I love the fact that these are Australian. And please join the chorus, which is very simple. And it's to a tune that you know and I don't. Oh, Noah, no, that's it. Oh, Noah, that's it. Oh, Noah, he built himself an ark. He built it out of gum tree bark, blah, blah, blah. Let me start again. Oh, Noah, he built himself an ark. He built it out of gum tree bark. One more river, that's the Old Macquarie. One more river to cross. The animals came in 2 by 2, the wombat and the kangaroo. One more river, that's the Old Macquarie. One more river to cross. The animals came in 3 by 3, the little bug and the frisky flea. One more river, that's the Old Macquarie. One more river to cross. The animals came in 4 by 4, some to the windows and some to the door. One more river, that's the Old Macquarie. One more river to cross. The animals came in 5 by 5, some more dead than they were alive. One more river, that's the Old Macquarie. One more river to cross. The animals came in 6 by 6, some carried swags, some carried six. One more river, that's the Old Macquarie. One more river to cross. The animals came in 7 by 7, some from hell and some from heaven. One more river, that's the Old Macquarie. One more river to cross. The animals came in 8 by 8, some were early and some were late. One more river, that's the Old Macquarie. One more river to cross. Oh, the animals came in 9 by 9, some in a circle, some in a line. One more river, that's the Old Macquarie. One more river to cross. The animals came in 10 by 10. They said, we've had so much fun, let's do it again. One more river, that's the Old Macquarie. One more river to cross. Let's do The Beauty of 19.
Oh, right, okay, yes.
This is from Enos Newitt, up there in Queensland, many years ago. This woman, well, it's a love song. It's got a chorus, singing. The chorus is easy. They said she was a beauty, a beauty, a beauty. They said she was a beauty, just 19 years old. One day as I was walking out down by the Strand, I found a young damsel, she was dressed up so grand. She had silk, she had satins, she had silver, she had gold, and they said she was a beauty, just 19 years old. They said she was a beauty, a beauty, a beauty. They said she was a beauty, just 19 years old. Her fingers, they were slender, she'd a neck like a swan. Her voice not too high and her voice not too strong. told I'd married a beauty just 19 years old, and they said she was a beauty, a beauty, a beauty. They said she was a beauty just 19 years old. Well, the wedding breakfast over, we retired for to rest, and my heart stood on end when I saw my love undressed. For a great load of wadding from her waist she did unfold, and I said, oh, you're a beauty, but 19 years old. And they said she was a beauty, a beauty, a beauty. They said she was a beauty, but 19 years old. Well, she unscrewed her left leg right up to her knee. She plucked off those fingers, I counted just 3. She popped out her false eye, on the carpet it did roll, and I said, oh, you're a beauty for 19 years old. And they said she was a beauty, a beauty, a beauty. They said she was a beauty just 19 years old. Well, she took out her false teeth, and my heart struck with terror. For her nose and her chin, they very well nearly came together. And some more of that wadding from the way she did unfold. And I said, oh, you're a beauty, but 19 years old. And they said she was a beauty, a beauty, a beauty. They said she was a beauty, just 19 years old. When she took off her false wig, I thought I would faint, 'cause down from her face she scraped a bucket of paint. And she took off her corset, a great hump I behold, and I said, oh, you're a beauty for 19 years old. And they said she was a beauty, a beauty, a beauty. They said she was a beauty just 19 years old. So come all you young men with a mind for to wed, and mind your love is perfect from her toes to her head, or else you'll be like me, yes, like me you'll be sold, a patched up piece of old work about 99 years old. And they said she was a beauty, a beauty, a beauty. They said she was a beauty just 19 years old. Okay, here's a song called The Road to Gundagai, or Lazy Harry's. It's a typical bush song. Mentions, that lambing down where the boys would go into the pub and hand over their money. They called it lambing down because they were fleeced, like lambs to the slaughter. It's a practice that actually continued right up to the beginning of World War I, and it happened in the cities as well. Lots of tales of misery. I mean, one man I taped told me that one landlady used to, I mentioned they'd give you a cheque for the remainder of what was left after your 3-day spree, but she had a trick. This is in the days of horses and not trains, but she used to bake the cheque she'd written into the oven and bake it, and she'd give it to him. He'd put it in his saddlebag and he'd be away, and 100 miles down the track he'd open up the saddlebag, and of course it was just dust. They were tales, terrible tales. here's a song called The Lost Sailor. Have we ever done this live? I don't think so, but we'll give it a go.
We did it in C.
Live or dead, doesn't matter. It's a song I got in Adelaide, an old sea song. I was doing some research down there, talking to a mate of mine, Ivan, who was worked on tugboats. He told me a story about this ship was coming in, and there was one of the crew who had a terrible stutter, and he was in a terrible state and screaming and waving at the captain, and the captain knew that he could sing, this fella, and when you have a stutter sometimes you can sing. And he said, "What is it, man? Get over it, what is it?" And he went, "May old acquaintance be forgot and never far from mine. Our bloody cook's gone overboard, is now 9 miles behind." This is a tragic song, typical of all those old songs that we inherited from that end of the Victorian period, the end of it, where people like tearjerkers, like "Don't Sell My Mother's Picture in the Sale," and the luggage van ahead, that terrible one where the man's sobbing, the little girl's sobbing, and this lady says, "Can you please keep your daughter quiet? Why is she crying all the time?" And he says in the song, "Because her mother's dead in the luggage van ahead." I mean, they're tragic things. Now this is a bit like that, but not that bad. A sailor's life is a merry life. They rob young girlies of their heart's delight, leaving them behind to sigh and to moan. Oh, they never know when they will return. There's 24 all in a row. My sweetheart cards her brightest show. He is proper, tall and gentle withal, and if I can't have him, then I'll have none at all. Oh, Father, Father, fetch me a boat, so I might out on the ocean float, and every queen ship that passes us by, I'll make inquiries for my sailor boy. She hadn't been long upon the deep before a queen ship she chanced for to meet. Oh, you sailors all, come tell it to me. Does my sweet William sail on board of your crew? Oh no, fair maid, he is not here, for he is grounded, we greatly fear, on yonder green island as we pass by. Oh, we lost sight of your sailor boy. She wrung her hands and she tore her hair, much like a damsel in great despair, and the little boat against the rock she did run, saying, how can I live now that my sailor is gone? Here's one you can join in with. It's a very complicated chorus, but I think you'll pick it up. Your bit is your crows, right? It's a very old song. It's probably 300 years old or thereabouts. It was called the Twa Corbies, Two Black Crows. The story is that just like Heckle and Jekyll, these birds can talk, and they were sitting on a branch, and one of them says to the other, where will we have dinner tonight? And the other one says, there's a dead knight on the road up there, let's go and pick his eyes out, because if you're a crow, that's the nice bit. Anyway, somehow it got to Australia and we don't have knights or whatever, So it changed a bit to being a dead cow. Oh, your bit is very difficult. You've got to go, ah, ah, ah.
It's tough.
You want a rehearsal? 1, 2, 3. Oh, 2 black crows sat on a tree. They were black as black can be. Said one old crow to the other, where shall we dine today, dear brother? On yonder hill's an old dead cow. I reckon we should dine there now. They perched upon his high backbone, plucked his eyes out, yum, yum, yum. Said one old crow unto the other, isn't this a tough old bugger? The farmer came down with his gun, shot them all excepting one who went This old black crow got such a fright, turned from black right into white, going and that is why you'll sometimes see a single white crow sitting in a tree going I've done quite a lot in collecting about the war and how the troops in the First and Second World particularly survived in the very worst of times. And one of the ways they did it, especially in those trenches, was humour. There were enough trenches to circle the globe. That's how many. And the worst thing about the war was that the gas, when they started to throw the gas, and it was an Australian, very clever at inventing things, who realised that if he peed on his shirt and held it up to his face, the ammonia would sort of stop the gas going through his lungs. So that was clever. The whole survival through humour was interesting to me. What would be the one thing that the Australian soldier hated most? He used to say, a man's not a bloody windmill, and that was saluting. They hated it. And of course these kids, and they were mainly young men, who joined up, many of them because of the Cooey marches, or the Kangaroo, or the Waratah, or the Warragulls, all these marches that came from the bush and headed towards the Sydney Domain where they signed up. And they were all timed to come at the same time. Amazing. There were thousands of young men, straight off the farm in many cases, and they used to chant as they were marching along the road to keep their sanity. They'd be doing things like, we're in the army now, we're not behind a plough, we live in a tent, we pay no rent, we're in the army now. And of course the kids picked up on this, and they changed it to, we're in the army now, we tried to milk a cow, the cow farted, we departed, we're in the Air Force now. One story I did like about this was there was a man called General Birdwood who was appointed to look after the Australian and New Zealand troops. And he was a bit pompous, but a great soldier. But he wore a cap with a big plume in it, big feather. And there was a story of an Australian on leave in England going down Bond Street, and he passed General Birdwood, and Birdwood went, "Hey! Yeah? Are you an Australian soldier?" "Yeah." "Well, I'm General Birdwood." "Yeah? well, why don't you pluck that feather out of your hat, stick it up your ass and fly off like any other bird would? You know, Billy Hughes was a favourite of my father. He hated him. Billy Hughes was the Prime Minister before World War I, and he was always trying to get conscription up. Failed twice at referendum. And he was always after 5,000 more men to join. Anyway, at one stage he went on a publicity stunt. He went to England to get photographed with King George, smoking a cigar. And I found a little song about it, a ditty. I said I'd sing it for somebody mentioned it. Good. My father and my grandfather hated Billy Hughes. Everybody who was a Catholic or a socialist hated Billy Hughes. In fact, when I was a kid, I used to bang on the bathroom door when my dad was in the shower, and he'd go, "Who's that knocking at the door? If it's Billy Hughes and his wife, we will chase them with a knife and they won't come knocking anymore." Anyway, I found this song from a wharfie about Billy Hughes going over there. It's to the tune of it's parody, tune of "There's only a button between him and disgrace. That dirty little mongrel Billy Hughes is trying to introduce that damn conscription for boys and for men, and of course for him we've no use. He's a rat, a dirty old skunk. It's a pity that ship never sunk when it sailed the seas to the old country, where he fell on his knees to King George, with a duchess to welcome him in, to smoke a cigar with the king. He'd betray his own class, that it's come to pass that the hobnobs have fallen with him. To the Duchess will let him go back, his party will give him the sack. With one Union brand we will soon own the land, dump Hughes right off our backs. What we'll do, shall we do At Each Gate the Shearer Stood? Yeah, I got this off Mrs. Colley up in Bathurst. She knew quite a few songs. This is At Each Gate the Shearer Stood. At each gate the shearer stood as a whistle loudly blew. With eyebrows fixed, mouth content, the tigers all fell through. Up to the clicking of the shears as through the wool they glide. Look at down ringer, he is on the whip and slide. A lot of Lachlan tigers, yes, it's sure that we are. Up to our burly ringer as he loudly calls for tar. Tar here calls one, and quick the tar boy runs, saying, "Broom sweep those lots away," another loudly cries. A scene that is a lively one that ought to be admired. There's never been a better board since Jackie Howe expired. Along the board the gaffer walks, his face all in the frown, saying, "Keep those shears down, oh keep those shears well down." Oh, a lot of Lachlan tigers will be plain to see we are. Up to our burly ringer as he loudly calls the tar. Tar here calls one, and quick the tar boys fly. Tar, keep those lots away, another loudly cries. I have a pair of Warren paints, they're bright and shiny new. I'll rig them up and I will show what I can really do. 'Cause I'm shorn in Queensland and out on the Paroo, but such a mob of tigers, well, I've never seen before. Oh, a lot of tigers, well, it's plain to see we are up to our burly ringer as he now calls for tar. Tar here calls one and quick the tar boys fly. They broom sweep those lots away, another loudly cries. Here's a Henry Lawson poem that's set to music. It's Henry liked to drink. He liked to drink. They used to say he'd write a poem for a pint. And this one, he's imagining that all the girls, the boys in the roustabouts are turning into young girls with trays of whiskey and passing them round, and that everything in the shearing shed was really good. Two more, I think. Shall we have a go at The Wonderful Crocodile?
Oh, yeah.
This is a song that I found in a songbook published in Adelaide in the 1890s or 80s. And it's a story of Jonah and the whale, but an Australian sort of version of it. It's silly. It's got a reference to the pyramids in the last verse. Come all you blokes and listen to me and tell you the truth I'm bound. What happened to me while going to sea and the wonders that I found. Shipwrecked I was on La Perouse and cast saw a sight that for all I thought was all the world in motion, and steering up alongside I saw it was a crocodile, and from its nose to the tip of its sail it measured 500 miles, and I followed the roll, the riddle of the ray-day, followed the riddle of the ray-day, I followed the roll, the riddle of the ray-day, followed the riddle of the ray-day. This crocodile like a plain he'd seen, just not of the common race, and I was obliged to have a jolly-eye treat to look him in the face. And when he opened his jaws on me, well perhaps you think it a lie, his tail it reached down to the earth and his nose up to the sky, and I followed the roll, the rhythm of the ray-day, followed the riddle of the ray-day, I followed the roll, the riddle of the ray-day, followed the riddle of the ray-day. This crocodile I complained that he'd see was not the common race. Oh no, oh up aloft that tree so high, a wind was from the south. Oh I let go and away did fly bang into that crocodile's mouth. And when he closed his jaws on me, well he thought he grabbed a victim, but I popped down his throat, you see, and that's the way I tricked him with me. Roll, roll, the riddle of the ray-day, roll the riddle of the ray-day, I followed the roll, the riddle of the ray-day, followed the riddle of the ray-day. I travelled on for a mile or more until I reached his moor. I found rum kegs not a few and 1,000 bullets in store. I've lost all cares away I threw, for in grub I was not stinted. I stayed inside that crocodile 10 years very well content, and I followed the roll, the riddle of the ray-day, followed the riddle of the ray-day, I followed the roll, the riddle of the ray-day, followed the riddle of the ray-day. Well alas one day this crocodile died, he was so thick and wide, he was 2 months in getting cold, he was so thick and wide. His skin was 10 miles thick, I'm sure, or somewhere thereabout, 'cause I was 3 weeks or more in hatching my way out. And I followed the roll, the riddle of the ray-day, followed the riddle of the ray-day, I followed the roll, the riddle of the ray-day, followed the riddle of the ray-day. And now I'm safe on shore once more, resolved no more to roam. I hitched the berth on a passing ship, and now I'm safe at home. And if my story you should doubt, if you ever go down the Nile, oh where he fell you found the tail of the buckled crocodile. And I followed the roll, the riddle of the ray-day, followed the riddle of the ray-day, I followed the roll, the riddle of the ray-day, followed the riddle of the ray-day. Okay. Hey, thank you so much for coming out this afternoon. We've had a bit of fun. This is only the 4th time we've performed this year, so it's not as if we do this all the time. I'm a bit busy doing books and things.
Almost this millennium at least.
Yes, exactly. And we haven't performed. Did we perform last year? I don't think so.
No.
But it's funny how the songs come back to you. And some of the words, they don't come in the right order sometimes. But it's good to share them with you. If you're interested in what I do, there's a website, just Google my name, and lots of videos, lots of recordings, including many of the ones that I've recorded for the National Library. They're now on digital files. I can't remember how many videos, but a lot on the Outback that I've done. I've also got copies of my book, not many, here, my memoir, which is Tell Too Much, including my collecting, and when I had Folkways Record Shop and Larrikin Records and some of the shenanigans I got up with. I've got one of those little things that you can put your credit card so you don't feel any pain. So that's that. But once again, thank you for supporting Humph Hall and Wayne. It's just lovely environment here, and doing it without microphones is great. I've got a very soft voice, as you know. I'm going to finish off with a song that I got from a man, Herb Green. It's an Aboriginal-ish version of Waltzing Matilda. And this is what he sang.
Not sure which key we're in.
Old fella bagman, camp along a billy bung, under the shade of a big fella tree. Sing 'em, watch 'em, waiting for the billy to boil. Who'll come a walk about till the long of me? Who'll come a walk about, big fella roundabout? Who'll come a walk about till the long of me? Leading a dilly bag, meat from a tucker bag. You carry blurry swag till the long of me. Down came a jimbuck to drink at the water hole. Up jumped the bagman and grabbed him with glee. And he sang as he pushed that jimbuck in his tucker bag. Come a walk about till the long of me. You'll come a walk about, big fella roundabout. You'll come a walk about till the long of me. Leading a dilly bag, meat from a tucker bag. You carry blurry swag till the long of me. Oh, down comes the swatter, mounted on his thoroughbred. Down come its troopers, 1, 2, 3. Where is that jimbuck you've got in your pucker bag? You'll come a walk about till the long of me. You'll come a walk about, big fella roundabout. You'll come a walk about till the long of me. Leading a dilly bag, meat from a tucker bag. You carry blurry swag till the long of me. Oh, bagman me up, he jumps into the water hole, drowns blurry self near big fella tree. And his ghost may be heard as you pass by that billabong. Sing, who'll come a walk about till the long of me? Who'll come a walk about, big fella roundabout? Who'll come a walk about till the long of me? Leading a dilly bag, meat from a tucker bag. You carry bloody swag till the long of me. Thank you to Marcus and Garry, fine musicians. And don't forget when God knocked off one night, he said, "This earth's a rotten failure. How to improve it? Now let me see." Next day he made Australia.